Hello, welcome to this week's vlog. I'm doing little bits and bobs of recording while I'm on holiday. I don't want to do too much because I want it to be just time away. So this is day 2. I've decided that I had a spare day when I didn't have things that I wanted to do. So I went for a walk yesterday evening, just up the lane through onto a public footpath in the fields. And it was just stunning. I mean, the sun was setting, it was lovely. So what I decided to do, because I don't normally get the opportunity to do these types of things on holidays, is I'm going to go out. Well, supposedly for the day, it's like 10:15 and I've only just managed to pack all the art materials, pack all the lunch and things. It's so sweet, there's like a little hamper, so I'm going to take some rosé with me. I'm on holiday, it's decadent. Anyway, yeah, so I'm going to walk up, hope that I can carry everything because my backpack is just stuffed full of things, and just go and see what things I can paint. I've got oil pastels, I've got pastels, I've got colour pencils. I'm taking everything that I have got with me, pretty much. So I'll go and do that and I shall show you the outcome. I have no idea what the outcome is going to be, but I'm going to have a lovely day and I shall catch up with you soon. Perfectly in the cottage there was this hamper to put some of my picnic in, and look, this is the way to picnic. Rosé and lemonade. I've got a wine glass as well. Anyway, I've been sketching the view. I went to my go-to to begin with, which is drawing it in pen first and then sketching the colours in very loosely. And I just loved this so much that I decided to do a painting of it. And I was going to just go straight in with the paint to be really loose and kind of let all the colours flow in, but I thought I'd better have a little go in my other sketchbook first. So obviously this is different texture to watercolour, so I decided that it was a little bit too loose. It's alright for a sketch, but it was a little bit too loose. So I decided to draw the kind of shapes in first, and I'm much happier that I've done that, but it still needs a little bit more work. I am trying to work really loosely, so kind of in the background there, the shadows are just from the grasses. It looks like sun rays, doesn't it? So at the back there I just let it run in and left that really loose, but I think I need to do a little bit more detail in the gate. I want to keep this area still quite loose because I really like just the way the looseness was in this. Don't know whether to maybe go into it with some pen or whether just to kind of go over some of the pencil a little bit more. But I'm just having a little break, had another cinnamon roll, and then I will get back to it. sheltering from the rain on a, which I didn't realise was a swinging chair, looking at this gorgeous view. Well, my shelter is not that good because there are leaves and I'm getting dripped on. Well, it's the final day of my break away and I have thoroughly enjoyed it. Completely thankful for this time away in such gorgeous surroundings. I know it's not far from home, but it's just lovely to get away. And I'm really hoping that I can come back here and have like little mini artist retreat. I have taken a little bit of footage. I will obviously get back and see what I've done, work out, and I think what I might do is do a flip through of all the sketches and things that I've done, because I'm going to go to Howick Hall today on the way back, so I've still got sketches to do. So hopefully you shall see this now. These are the 3 sketchbooks that I took. So obviously my new one had this clip in my bag, which was handy so that then if it's windy you can clip the pages down like that so they don't blow around. And I'm probably, well, I was going to keep it on there, but it might mark that. And I do want to do something on the cover and I haven't decided yet. I was going to do a sketch while I was like out and about, but I haven't done that yet. So anyway, I'll try and do these in chronological order. I started with this sketchbook, and this is the first one at Warkworth. So I spent the day or the afternoon in Warkworth just having a mooch around. This is the old bridge and the little tower thing. Sat on this bench. It did start raining, but I was quite sheltered, so that was quite lovely. And then this was trying the coloured pencils, and I'm not sure how successful it is. I think what I'm not keen about is it looks better through the camera, I think, than it does in real life. I think it's the definition. Obviously with the pen drawings that I do this quite a lot. I do like the definition of the pen with the outline. So I think maybe that's what's kind of making me block, that there's not like a lot of, I couldn't get a lot of tones in there, so I haven't got many darks and lights. Maybe that's what's throwing me for that. But then I sat on that bench quite a while, just soaking in the sounds and the peacefulness. So I did actually do another slightly different view of that, obviously with the pen and the watercolour. Again, I'm not that sure about this because there aren't very many variations in the greens, but possibly prefer it to the one before. I don't know, they've got different qualities. Jury's still out on that one. Then I had a wander back along the river, and this is quite an iconic view of Warkworth Castle. Decided not to paint this one, just do it in the pen. And I decided to leave quite a lot of detail like not there, if you know what I mean, in these trees here. So I don't know if it looks a tiny bit odd that this looks like it's floating, but that's what I decided to do, and that's what your sketchbook's for, is to do things and think, actually, did that work, did that not work? I've written on here, so peaceful, birds chirping, ducks nibbling, the sound of the wind high above when all is still on the river. I like putting little bits like that, because that reminds me, because I'd forgotten that I could hear the ducks nibbling all the pondweed. Well, it wouldn't be pondweed because it's a river, but like nibbling at all the insects and things in the water. This sketch was done on a Tuesday, and all I literally did was sat in a field all day from 10 o'clock till 3 o'clock. Took a picnic lunch. If you follow me on Instagram, you'll see the little hamper that I had with my wine and my lemonade in it. And it was a proper hamper. It had a plate
and I took knives and buttered my bread and cut my cheese out in the field, and it was absolutely glorious. And I did this view and I liked it so much that I decided that I would do a painting of it in situ. I really quite like this in the sketchbook now, looking back on it. Maybe I might do this scene again, straight onto the watercolour paper, but loose like this. I don't know, because I really do quite like that. Obviously it would need more work, it's not finished, it needs details and things, but yeah, anyway, I'll show you the finished one. Here is the finished painting. I didn't actually do it all when I was out and about because it did start getting a bit chilly and a bit drizzly, and I wanted to do another picture like painting in the next field. So I kind of got to a point where I couldn't work on it anymore at the time, so I did finish it off, do little details when I got back to the cottage later on, like the little paint splatters for the grasses here and some of the darker details on the fence, and darkened up these bits here. But I really love this picture. I really like how it's turned out, and I don't know whether I prefer this one or the sketch, because I really love the sketch as well. And yeah, it would be interesting to see what it would look like if I hadn't drawn it, because I do quite like the structure. It needs the structure of like the gate and things. But I left this really loose. I just literally did a wash, and then when it was wet did this wash and let it bleed in, and then that's pretty much all I did on the background. This is Leamington Mill. So the owner of the cottages where I was staying, she took a picture of it to show them. So I don't know what they thought of it. One of my thoughts that I wanted to do while I was on holiday, a kind of arty break, was to use some of the materials that I don't use a lot. And this was in the next field, obviously the same building here but from a different angle, and this was oil pastels. I haven't used oil pastels for ages, and to be honest with you, I've probably never, 20 years ago, probably never ever used them the way that they were supposed to be used. When I was doing this, I didn't really like it, and I didn't like the process of it, because to layer the oil pastels, like you got little bits off the pastels and you had to wipe it all away, and it was all messy, but in a, I don't mind getting messy with the inks and things, but it's like it was messy in a different way, and I didn't particularly enjoy the process. And I thought that the greens weren't being neutralised enough. I used the method of putting the reds in, but looking at it through the camera, I don't actually mind it. The only thing I would say is that obviously on this scale I can't get the level of finesse detail in the building, but it was an interesting thing to do, and maybe I will look at it. Maybe still lives are the things to do with the oil pastels, but yeah, definitely an interesting thing to do. I did take my soft pastels as well, but I didn't get a chance to use those, unfortunately. Ah, yes, I've skipped. I did do this the day before all of those. This was the day that I arrived. I did a little walk along through that field, which is, so that's kind of where I scoped out. So this is the same kind of view. No, is it? No, this is in the field along. So a bird of prey calling, possibly a buzzard. Yes, I could hear that calling. And on the same walk I sketched this little sketch, gorgeous little cottage. This was called Garden Cottage. I've taken a photograph of that because I would like to actually paint that in more detail. This was quite late on, it was 9 o'clock and my hands were getting cold. So that's why it's possibly a little rushed. But they're the only two that I did in the little mini Hannah Muller sketchbook. This was the day after. This was the view from the cottage, well, from the road next to the cottage where the owners of the holiday cottage live. This is west facing and it had glorious sunsets. So like you see, that was 7:15 at night. This was my walk at Hulne Park. Unfortunately, this is the only one that I did because halfway around the walk it started raining, and it rained quite a bit. And it rained until I got back to the car. So this is all I managed to get done of that walk, which was a shame. But I did take photographs of Hulne Abbey, which is a ruin, and I am going to do some paintings of those. Again, I didn't do the watercolour on this because I wasn't sure how long it would take me to do the walk, and I knew that it was going to start raining. So this was just literally a pen sketch. The only painting that I did in this this larger sketchbook was of the cottage. It was absolutely gorgeous. It was the Thursday morning, so it was my penultimate day, and oh, actually that was before Monk's Bridge. Yeah, Hulne Park didn't open until 11, so I had a chance in the morning to paint the cottage, which was lovely. And I saw the owner when I came back on the Thursday and showed her this because she knew that I was an artist, and she's ordering a print of this and an original painting to be done of the other cottage that they have, which was lovely. So I'm really excited. She really liked this. Please can I stay? So that really was my sentiment when I did that sketch in the morning, because it was lovely and sunny, and it was just glorious. Again, experimenting. This was the last evening, and there were glorious sunsets again to the west over those fields, and I thought, right, I want to try and capture this because I haven't really done that before. So went out at, I think it was about 10:15 or something, and did this. Didn't really like the colours, and I should have really wet the paper first. So, because that was wet, I did it on this side, and that was so much more successful. And I decided to do the purples in the sky as well, because it was starting to get quite purpley, so seeing different colours in there. Now, I'm not normally an orangey yellowy person, but I really like this. I think this was far more successful than this. So again, this is what sketchbooks are for. If you don't succeed first, try again. I think actually it is the purple that makes that, isn't it? Yes. Then on the morning that I was leaving, I had packed up. I'd packed the car, and I didn't want to leave too early because Howick Hall didn't open till 10:30. So I had to leave by 10. So I had a few minutes left over to while away the time. So I sketched this view of the window in the living area. The television was here, so artistic license. I've just left that out. It looks a bit more busy. I think it would benefit from actually being painted, because yes, I can see that there's an orchid in a pot and some books, but I'm not sure that the definition is quite there. Apparently the windows, when they were being sandblasted, smelt of sea salt, so they thought that they might have come out of a lighthouse keeper's cottage or something like that, which was really interesting. You should hopefully have seen the time-lapse of this one. This again, it was coloured pencil, so trying it this time in the landscape, drawing the pen on first, and again I think this is successful. I don't know whether I would use it necessarily over the watercolours, because the travel watercolour kit that I've got is really quite easy to use. This was obviously a dry alternative, except it got wet because it started raining. So that was Howick Hall. This is the hall, and this is one of the kind of wings, presumably stables at some point, or estate buildings, or I don't know what they are. Then it had started raining, and I gave in and went to the tea room for lunch. This was my view. It was starting to get sunny again, and I really love this. It's just gentle and delicate and shows the flowers but without too much detail, and I do quite like the way that I just left the window like that, because obviously it was just sky up there, so there's not really that much point in doing that. I was just concentrating on this. And I've put a little note: lunch at Howick Hall, toasted tea cake, lemon cake and Earl Grey tea. And Earl Grey tea was developed at Howick Hall, so that's why it's special. I told a lie. This was another one that I did in my bigger sketchbook. This was the sensory garden at Howick Hall. I thought I'd got away with the sun coming out and it being lovely, but it did start to rain. And I'd got this far with it. and it absolutely hammered down. I tried to shelter on that seat and yeah, it didn't happen. So I didn't know whether to finish this or leave it. I might leave it as it is because then that tells the story of I got rained off. The other thing is that obviously it was so wet I just had to close this, otherwise it was just going to be ruined. So it's actually transferred over. So I don't know whether to draw it out again over here. I did take a photograph of it. Draw it out over here and actually do a finished one here. So you've got this is where I got to on the day, and this is actually what it would have looked like. I might do that, yeah. I hope you enjoyed that flip through, and I hope you enjoyed the video. I've obviously cobbled together something from it. But if you have enjoyed the video, please hit the like button and consider subscribing, and I shall see you in the next one. Bye.